My friends and I, we went out downtown Asheville and we were carpooling and left my vehicle. It was raining. I don't even think I realized I parked it next to a river. Went home to my friend's house, knew there was a hurricane coming, but didn't think it would come 400 miles inland. The storm blindsided pretty much everybody. It rained for 2 days prior, which set the stage for absolute flooding and destruction here. Ended up completely landlocked at my friend's house. We lost power, water, cell phone service. No information was getting through. The French Broad River went from averaging 3 feet in depth to almost 25 feet from what I understand. Some volunteers had cleared a route out from my friend's house. We made a beeline for the disaster zone, and there was a police officer blocking the road at the time. We were telling him what was going on, and I said, "Hey, my vehicle's down there." And he's like, "If your vehicle's down there, it's gone." And I said, "No, look, it's on the app. It's coming up. Got the location." And so he was kind enough, he escorted us down, and we had pulled up, and my vehicle wasn't there. It turns out it had floated about 100 feet, and we found it underneath the bridge, covered in mud. Came up to it, got in it, and after cleaning off the windshield, it was almost as if nothing had happened. The battery is about 3,000 pounds, and it's all on the floor, and this lower center of gravity probably prevented the vehicle from tumbling downstream. Not only the motors, but the batteries hermetically sealed, so that when it did get submerged, neither of those things were affected. I think that when natural disasters hit, it pushes a community to its absolute limits. Not only were people in Asheville standing up, but people from around the country were here to help us out. My entire mindset changed. I had gone from this idea that I needed to basically fend for myself and hunker down and conserve to I need to step up and do something, because no one prepared for this disaster. There was a plethora of people that were in their ice vehicles, and they were already very close to empty when this disaster started. And then the scarcity of gas made it so that their vehicles were literally dying in line to the gas station. Whereas if you had an electric vehicle, you have charging at your house, you basically woke up that morning after the power went out with a full tank of electricity. On the way home that night, I stopped by the Crisis Response International team, and I asked the team lead at CRI if I could do anything, and they were having a difficulty sourcing gasoline for their generator to run the food truck. And I told him, I said, "Hey, listen, the truck's got a 120 volt, 15 amp outlet. Why don't you just run it off my truck?" So I ended up running the food truck and just did some miscellaneous tasks that Monday. Because there was no preparation, the local, state, and federal government didn't really have a good stronghold initially. And so a lot of people, without anything to grab onto, were looking for people like volunteers to do some basic stuff that normally the government might do, like welfare checks. This woman had come to the CRI, and she was talking about a relative of hers that was maybe 10, 15 miles northeast of Asheville that she hadn't been able to get in contact with. And everybody at the CRI center had ICE vehicles, and these vehicles run off of gasoline, which is very scarce and hard to find in Asheville at the time. And they asked me to go out and check on them. And I had an electric chainsaw, and they gave me 32 pack of water as well. All I had was an address. And I remember driving up Elk Mountain Scenic Road, which was in such an awful state. I had made it majority of the way up this road, and there were trees down right in the road that made it completely impassable. My vehicle, it's got a 120 volt, 15 amp outlet on it. It's 143 kilowatt hours. I must have spent the entire afternoon cutting trees with my electric chainsaw running straight off the Rivian. I made it to this woman's house, and I remember this woman answered the door. She had 2 children, maybe 4, 6 years old. I remember her face. She was extremely grateful. She said that she hadn't heard from anybody, and that they were running everything off of a well, but they didn't have any power, so that they hadn't had access to water in days. And they were talking about how dehydrated they were. They literally got in their car and followed me out, and I think they were able to get supplies after that. It made a big impact on my future dedication for continuing to try to serve my community. Asheville was under this water conservation, so if you were lucky enough to have water, you sure as heck weren't watering your lawn or cleaning your car with it. I was trying to think of a solution. I had a truck toolbox and I built a hot shower into it. It's a 16-gallon water tank, a 4-gallon hot water tank. It's good for about a 10-minute hot shower. I built the system with a 3-stage filter in it so that I could resupply from any water source, whether it's potable or non-potable water. And I must have processed maybe 150 gallons worth of sediment full of river water. Initially, I had delivered showers to my friends, and they basically gave me a whole list of different people who hadn't had a shower in over a week. And I went out there and I drove to them. Just from this, it made me feel like I made a huge positive impact just from a morale perspective. Originally, I got the truck for its towing capabilities, its low maintenance costs, and the fact that the fuel for it is cheap. But it turns out that these vehicles also serve as part boat and part submarine. And I felt very fortunate to have my vehicle survive such an incredible natural disaster. I just decided I was going to do everything I could to help people out.